you won't have to care. But first, let's go over two positions that will get you P.A.I.D. from the global tech rally. Now, 2017 will likely be remembered by traders and investors as the year of the big rally in technology stocks. Unlike 1999, okay, this year's gains were powered by more than hype, okay? This particular year, tech's rise was indeed legitimate. We're talking about fabulous earnings from tech-oriented companies along with tech advances that substantiated those earnings. Now, in the third quarter of 2017, the S&P technology companies had an earnings growth rate of 21%. That kept the sector's P/E ratio in the 20 range. And that's quite a contrast from early 2000 when the forward price to earnings ratio for tech stocks was a whopping 52. An even bigger story for 2017 was how the tech rally went global and how all the global tech giants became even bigger. Overall, tech stocks globally are up about an average about 42% year to date. That is roughly double the gain for the broad-based MSCI AC World Index. And here's an even more amazing number for you to contemplate, beloved. As of the day before Thanksgiving, just 8 companies had gained an incredible $1.4 trillion in market capitalization in 2017. I said $1.4 trillion in market capitalization. That was likely on the back of investor expectations that the big will only get bigger thanks to their huge user base, large cash piles, and access to data on consumers. Here is the list of 8 companies, starting with 5 American names you'll recognize. We're talking about 8 companies that gained an incredible $1.4 trillion in market capitalization this year. Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Alphabet, and Facebook, along with 3 Chinese powerhouse companies, Alibaba, Tencent, and Baidu. Now, of the top 10 companies globally by market capitalization, the first 7 are all very familiar technology names. I'm talking about Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Tencent, and Alibaba. Now, no real surprises here, but here is something that may surprise you. Listen to this. That is the fact that the top Chinese tech stocks have easily outpaced the U.S. tech stocks this year. This differential came to the fore about 2 weeks ago, at least temporarily. Tencent surpassed Facebook in market capitalization. It became the first of the Chinese tech titans to surpass $500 billion in valuation. It temporarily pushed Facebook out of the top 5 globally in market cap. Tencent is up 121% this year and is a fitting champion for what China is becoming in the 21st century. Its services are ubiquitous in China, with more than half of the 980 million users of its WeChat platform spending over 90 minutes daily on the app, chatting, playing games, listening to music, paying bills, ordering food, etc., etc. Okay? And its QQ social network platform has about 900 million users. However, Tencent gets 2/3 of its $32 billion in annual revenue from gaming, with hit games like Honor of the Kings, okay, which is printing money for Tencent as I speak. People download games, buy add-ons like virtual weapons, and sign up for digital media options like its YouTube-like video service. Not far behind Tencent is Alibaba, which is up 118% year to date and has a market cap of nearly $490 billion. You see, the e-commerce giant will most likely become a member of the exclusive $500 billion club very, very soon. And while the U.S. financial media went gaga this week over this recent Black Friday and Cyber Monday, the financial press around the world is still talking about the world's largest online shopping day, which was Singles Day in China. You see, back in 2009, Alibaba started something called the Singles Day sales event, and it has grown to enormous proportions, benefiting chiefly Alibaba. This year, it set another record with $25.3 billion in sales, a 39% increase from a record 2016 for just one day. Now, in a side note, 90% of those sales were conducted via a mobile phone, a handheld device. Listen to me. This is valuable information to get P.A.I.D. from the world's most populous country. Now, both Alibaba and Tencent dominate another red-hot area of growth in China. That is e-payments. You see, stocks here in the United States, such as Square and PayPal, have soared this year on the back of the move towards e-payments. But in China, the e-payment sector is like Square's and PayPal's growth on steroids. China is the world's leader, with volumes in 2016 rising nearly fivefold to $8.8 trillion. I said trillion, $8.8 trillion. Currently, Alibaba is number one in the sector, and its Alipay unit has a 54% market share, but Tencent's WeChat Pay is closing fast with a 40% market share. You see, the story holds true in the digital advertising space as Alibaba still dominates the sector, with Tencent steadily closing the gap, however. By 2019, Tencent ad revenues are forecast to hit $11.4 billion, which would be a 15% share of the digital ad space in China. Now, I'm happy to say that I've owned both of these particular positions for quite a while, and you should not be afraid to do the appropriate drill down to determine whether or not you want to actualize or buy to open these positions just because they're Chinese companies. And let me tell you why. First off, the Chinese government has specifically stated that it wants technology champions that are recognized globally. So while the government may poke its nose into corporate business once in a while, it's not about to kill these two golden geese. More importantly, though, is the growth of China's middle class, which is doing most of the consuming and generation of revenues for both Tencent and Alibaba. And according to a recent study, 76% of China's urban population, currently 750 million people, by the way, will be considered middle class by 2020. Listen, let me repeat that. This is phenomenal. Now, we need to monetize this. 76% of China's urban population, currently 750 million people, will be considered middle class by 2020. Is 70-something% of the U.S. population anywhere close to being considered middle class? Hades, no. We got to make our money global. We got to get paid from the world's most populous nation. In 2000, only 4% of that population was considered middle class in China. But by 2020, 76% will be. That translates to 550 million people, which would be in the world's which would be in the world's most populous country. Now listen to me. China's consumer economy is forecast to grow by 55% by the end of the decade to $6.5 trillion. That's trillion dollars. That will be an increase of $2.3 trillion, or the equivalent of 1.3 times the current German consumer market. Family members and listeners alike, with these sort of economic tailwinds and the sheer numbers working for you, me, we, the ASK THE WIZ Wealth Institute family, okay? Because China is so much larger than the United States. Both Alibaba and Tencent should continue their winning ways in 2018 and give me, you, we, the ASK THE WIZ Wealth Institute family, P.A.I.D. Tencent and Alibaba family to get P.A.I.D. from the increased and ever-growing technological boom